Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming, and we are really happy to have you here. I'm Johnny, the project manager at Inspire Hospitality, and I also have another identity, which is regional alumni ambassador at Le Roche Global Hospitality in Switzerland. Le Roche, together with Glion and Eco Ducas, are part of SOMID Education. SOMID Education provides undergraduate and graduate hospitality program for the students. As today's sponsor, all the contents will share on their platform.
Thank you, Johnny. 大家下午好. I'm Carol, the HR and Learning Development Manager of Inspire Hospitality. For those who are the first time joining us today, we hope today is full of fun, learning, and inspiration for you. There will be 2 interviews featuring different topics. We'll have a coffee break in between, followed by a hotel tour and an opportunity for each other to socialize and network with each other. I hope everyone prepared lots of questions to ask. Now, please allow me to introduce the founder and CEO, Ms. Elizabeth Espinoza. Come to the stage.
So, founded more than 120 years ago by a wine merchant by the name of Bertolt Kempinski. Kempinski is Europe's oldest hotel brand. With the purchase of their first hotel in 1987, Kempinski established itself as a brand that was renowned for its exclusive and individual luxury. Today we have the unique opportunity to be able to speak with 2 general managers who are at the helm of this iconic European brand operating here in China. And in their honor, and of course, as a tribute to the very famous Kempinski Lady in Red, I had to dress accordingly, okay? So when we talk about hospitality, typically we think about the traditional hotel operations. But today, we're going to take some time to learn about how luxury hotel brands like the Kempinski apply their service traditions to a residential setting. We're very fortunate because today we have some of Kempinski's residents here with us as well. Now, there's no greater brand ambassador for Kempinski than our first guest. She has 20 years of her career working with Kempinski Hotels. Her career spans 5 countries, including her most recent role at the Executive Corporate Office for Kempinski Hotels in Geneva, where she was the Regional Director of Operations for Europe. She returned to China at the beginning of this year, just on the cusp of COVID-19, to become the General Manager of this property, Kempinski The One Suites Hotel, Shanghai downtown. Please join me in welcoming our first guest and the host for today's event, Ms. Monika Tritz. Thank you. It's a full house, Monika. It's a full house.
It's a full house, yeah, that's right. How great. Wow, wonderful. Welcome, everybody, welcome.
We also need to take a moment to congratulate Monika. She was just awarded the TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice for 2020 award, so congratulations.
Thank you so much, thank you. We are thrilled, we are very, very thrilled, yeah.
Now, Monika, you are somewhat of an anomaly, okay? Because for most of the millennial and Gen Z, some of which we have here today with us, we cannot even begin to think about 20 years with one company. And I have to ask you, was there any time in your career where you were tempted to leave the brand and go somewhere else?
20 years, it's more than half of my life on this planet. Well, 20 years with Kempinski, I mean, there must be a reason why I stayed that long with Kempinski. But of course, the temptation is always there. I think you should look around you and see. So yes, there were a couple of moments in my career where I was shopping around and where I had talks with other hotel companies. But at the last moment, I still decided to stay with Kempinski.
So what is their secret? What is their secret for talent retention? Because a lot of the brands are struggling with just that, with the rapid growth that's happening in China. What would you say makes Kempinski really a brand that you could be loyal to for so long?
I think I always liked very much that Kempinski empowers its people. As well, Kempinski values a lot the individuality and gives you space to apply a creative approach towards operational workflows. And I have to say, there was always opportunity for me. And especially in the early stages of my career, I had opportunities to move all around the world, opportunities to grow, and I think that is a main reason why I stayed with Kempinski that long. But Kempinski also changed over the years, so it actually never got boring, and I was always at a point where I was learning and growing and developing.
So most of your career has been in operations, and you decided to make a very recent decision to join the corporate office, and this seems, for whatever reason, to be a dream of many hoteliers, right? That's the #1 job that we want to have after working in operations. But how was it really? I'd like to know, from an insider's perspective.
Insider's perspective, yeah, absolutely. Also, the interesting part was it wasn't planned. My career really built up on property level, and then moving to a regional position was very, very interesting for me. So I decided to jump and to really do it. And all of a sudden, I was at the Kempinski head office in Geneva, overlooking 30 hotels in the portfolio in operations. Now, that was, first of all, a big role. And then how do you approach this? And I remember on my first working day in Geneva head office, and I was walking into this coffee kitchen. You know, there's not really a canteen like you might know from a traditional hotel, but there is a coffee kitchen and people are getting together. So I was walking in with my hotel 5-star smile and full of energy already at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. And people weren't responsive to me. So that was I realized very fast that this is a very, very different working pace or working approach. So I stayed 2.5 years in this position. I had 3 interim GM assignments, one in Venice, one in Munich in Germany, in my hometown, by the way, and one in Austria. All very different hotels. And I learned a lot, and I have to say, and I know we're going to speak about later why are you back on property level right now?
But that's okay,
Yeah.
because I think that's important for people to understand that your career in hospitality is never linear. It's never linear.
Exactly.
And Monika is a great example of doing just that, taking those roles, taking the chance to learn something new. And here you are back on property. And I'd like to know, yes, I'd like to know why you made that decision. And 2, why China? This is before you knew about COVID, by the way.
Why China? Why Shanghai?
Yes.
Yes. 2.5 years in a regional position gives you a great perspective of our industry. It also allows you to really understand the whole picture, really. So today, if I correspond with our regional office in Beijing or with our corporate office in Geneva, I have a lot more insights and I understand much better, I would say, than some of you who are working on property level or maybe on corporate level might understand. That sometimes there might be misunderstandings, or we do not understand why corporate office would send some implementations or send another email, but I can see that now from both sides. So that's the interesting part. Now, why did I move back? And actually, I do not appreciate the word back, right? I mean, I do not appreciate that word back.
Well, some people consider it to be a demotion to come to property. And I think that's something that, again, as we talk about managing careers, it's not linear. It's not linear.
Absolutely.
So the decision to be back on property is actually an opportunity to be back with your guests and also with your employees.
Yes, absolutely. And I had some people, colleagues, who asked me, yeah, but why would you go back as a GM? Well, first of all, I have never really held a proper general manager position. I did not hold it. I had 3 interim GM assignments. I was in the regional office doing a lot of firefighting, and I loved it, right? I mean, you learn a lot. You grow very fast. It was, like I always say, it was a high-speed train operation here. It was the G train between, I don't know, Shanghai and Guilin in a couple of hours. But for me, it was important to have this proper general manager position experience. And so I also spoke to my colleagues and my superior at the time, and we took the decision that this might be a very smart career move, and I'm convinced it was and it is.
So it's not your first time in China, so why did you come back to China? And why
Well,
Shanghai?
Yes, it's not my first time in China, and when the opportunity came up to move to, Shanghai, it's like the city. It's one of the greatest places in the world to be, and China, and especially right now. What we do here is so much faster, so different, right? And I did not have to think twice. I know this property. I visited 7 years ago as a guest at the time, and my journey in China started 2 years in Yinchuan, in Ningxia, I don't know, one great wines over there, and it's on the desert of Gobi, exactly, thank you. And then I worked in Beijing. So I knew this property from a visit, and it was always very, very interesting.
So this is not a traditional hotel.
Right.
You might call it, as you say, maybe a hybrid.
Yes, I like that. It's a hybrid, yes.
A hybrid meaning?
So Kempinski the One Suites Hotel is really, we are actually operating in that business model where we accommodate long stay guests and short stay guests under one roof. And all of our apartments, and you will see this later, we have arranged tours. All of our apartments are really equipped like apartments, like homes. And also we are now in the 8th year of operations here at the One. But before that, this house or the apartments were not really built as an initial idea as a serviced residence. It was an apartment, it was residence. So that's what we have. Now, operating and navigating and managing this beautiful hybrid is certainly challenging, not only operational, but also from a commercial point of view. But this is what makes it so interesting.
Pause there.
Thank you.
There. Commercial point of view. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to work in the corporate office or spend a lot of time with real estate friends, there is a big difference from an ownership standpoint to either do a traditional hotel or a residence. Maybe you can give us the argument for why someone would want to invest in an asset like this.
Right. When I'm putting on my asset manager real estate hat, and this is really what we have to think when we are selling apartments for long-term guests, then we don't think necessarily as a traditional hotelier, then we think square meters, then we think RMB per square meter. Then we think how much do we lose if this asset is empty, right, for some time. What is our operational cost? Twice a week housekeeping only. It's a very lean cost structure that we have here. And subsequently also a very lean cost structure in terms of payroll, in terms of number of staff that you have. And so that's the interesting part. But now on another note, if you have then short-term guests, right, and they also stay in the same building, they are expecting the Kempinski hotel feeling.
Service, yeah.
So they are expecting to have a minibus set up when they check in.
Yes.
So right now we are in strategic thinking to see how we can fit that in, and maybe eventually half the building. But coming back to your question, Elizabeth, it's really investment. It's a very profitable business in terms of GOP levels, and you can easily run in a residence 65 to, if not 70% GOP, and that's something in luxury hospitality we might dream of from time to time, but of course you can't really compare apples with apples here. But from an owner's perspective, it's very, very profitable if you have it in the right location, and we can see that here, downtown.
Well, let's compare apples to apples.
Yes.
Can we? There are a lot of few apples, the same apples around you here. There are many residences, service apartments and residences just across the street from you.
Right.
Down the street from you, in front of you. How does a customer know about your property, and what do you do to remain competitive when you have so many same apples around?
Yeah. So we have two competition sets, two comp sets, right? We have one that focuses on residences and serviced residences, and we have another one that compares us to 5-star luxury hotels, internationally branded, within our district.
And that comp set is part of your KPI as a GM. Are you measured by both the Hotel,
Yes.
luxury 5-star, and the residence 5-star?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we look at both, but then we look mostly with occupancy levels at one comp set and ADR levels at another comp set. I have to say, I've seen this now, I'm 9 months in this assignment, and I think it needs some tweaking here and there, because because I think we can do, we should have a much better picture on that. Now, in terms for me as a KPI, there is not really a difference, Elizabeth, right? I mean, I have my KPIs. Is it financially, operationally, quality, people, and that is actually, that's one.
So how do people find out about you? What would you say makes this experience worth the money to live here or to stay here when I have so much competition in the same area, which is here, downtown Shanghai, Jing'an?
Yes, absolutely. And there's always a younger product, or there's always a fresher concept around you. So how do we keep up is, of course, you have to continuously work on your visibility, but as well, and that was actually the focus this year, once we were allowed to, once we opened up again. Visibility, show your facilities, but then also for long-term guests especially, we're working with agencies together. So the agent would acquire the customer, bring him here, and then we do the site inspection and we decide together. So that's, it works different than a normal hotel straightforward booking between customer and the hotel.
And what is your platform
Right.
for the hybrid parts, right? The short-term guests that
Yes.
come for the weekend, they just want to have a place to stay in downtown.
Yes.
What are your platforms for marketing there?
Well, OTAs, I mean, I'm sure most of you who are in the business can sing a song about it this year. I have to say that C-Trip has been or is our biggest partner, very, very powerful. And through different things such as acquiring your golden medal when you are offering the best available rate on this particular platform, you can get more business, and that's for the moment what we do. However, I recently also met a young man from Booking.com, and we are also partnering with Booking.com, but for the moment, and in particular this year, for short stay, C-Trip online platform for us is the most important,
Yes,
powerful this year. But we are not forgetting the others.
of course,
Right.
of course. And we also cannot forget what it is to manage employees in this environment, right? It's a hybrid environment. You have employees that have for many years just really been focused on the residential side and managing long-stay guests who don't have many requests perhaps, but then you do have these guests that are coming for short stay. How do you manage the pace for your team, for your employees?
Yeah, and I think the pace definitely changed this year with me coming in and everything else that happened. For me, number one is always I go in and I connect to the people first. So I connect, I build trust, and then I lead. And 9 months now in my assignment, I have to say I see the first fruits of our hard work, and I'm really proud of the team. It is about each and every one. It is about looking at people, connecting, convincing that your ideas might be good, right?
Oh, and you came in almost the most nightmarish time for a general manager. She came literally just before borders closed for COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
can't imagine
yes. I arrived on the 2nd of February from Geneva, and I have to say, of course, I see some reactions in the audience right now when I say it's 2nd of February. Now, sure, this decision was purely driven by the fact that I had signed my contract and I said, I'm going to go. And I knew China, and I knew that I will be fine. And of course, when you are arriving here, it's not only about my person, it's about how do you deal with it. So of course, we had to apply all the crisis and emergency management styles. But in terms of people coming to that, arriving at this very, very special time for us, was the warmth and the welcoming, but also the respect I have received from the team, from our owning company, that already gave me such a boost and to start off on the right foot, even though it was not easy and it was certainly a challenge for all of us. But the people, yeah, and taking care of each other, yes.
So how do you take, for example, a team that's, we witnessed it today, extremely competent, extremely guest-focused, extremely can-do attitude everywhere, And then how do you keep them here in this
Beautiful.
residence, in this restaurant, for example, and how do you get them excited to promote this brand, your F&B outlet, this hotel, or hybrid hotel? How do you kind of instill that into a team that perhaps has never experienced that before?
Well, you start with you start first with talking, and then we have created something. It's called our gourmet club. So executive chef and chef Michael and Janice, we are going at least once a month, if not twice a month. And I mean, look at Shanghai. I mean, it's a culinary paradise here. And so we go, we get inspired, we go out, we try stuff. We look at our menu, we do things together. We apply trainings and create habits, really, every day, again and again and again. And the real convincing only starts then when you can see that an implementation works. And we can see that first implementation work very, very successful. For example, our several co-branding events we had this year also on our terrace, and private events that we had, and networking events. And you being here today with Inspire Hospitality interview series just shows that the strategy pays off. And I think that the team sees that. And it's a togetherness.
So I'm an owner.
Yes.
And we spend all this money for this beautiful building and furniture and equipment and employees. How do you maintain the product? Especially when you have people living in there for months at a time, maybe even years.
Yes, thank you, dear owner, for asking me this question.
Do you get that question often? Maybe you do.
So, of course, I mean, I have to say that preventive maintenance is so important. And is very, very often neglected from my experience. Preventive maintenance, good housekeeping, a great engineering team, and actually having a plan, right? Having a plan and follow that plan. Now for our residents, we are always trying to be very, very close to them. And so we are going twice usually a week into the apartment with housekeeping, but then also we offer, of course, 24 hours engineering service. But then, I mean, this is an ongoing thing, preventive maintenance. But then when we talk about, we are now in the 8th year of operation, the building is more than 10 years. So what's next? And actually we have worked, especially in the last 3 months, with our ownership together to create a 5-year reinvestment plan. And so I'm sitting with the owning company who is very, very supportive. And we say, okay, fine, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. For example, we are completely renewing the air condition in this building. Air condition is so important. You know how the summers in Shanghai can be. And if your air condition is not functioning well, it's terrible. So we set priorities together and we come up with that plan. And then we follow that plan. And that's what we did. And I look forward to the next 3 to 5 years where this will then come to action.
What is the biggest challenge of being the general manager of a residence? And how different is it to the challenges that you face in operations in a regular hotel?
I think challenges, you know, a regular hotel or a residence, you have certainly in both. I think as a general manager working for a management company, you need to navigate between the owning company and the management company. And then you need to navigate between your team members and eventually your guests. I think it's, for me personally, it's not necessarily a challenge, but it is something that you need to master when you are in a general manager position. Now, residences have the difference, as I said, it's really real estate thinking. It is furniture thinking. You know, we have some of our tenants who want to bring their own furniture. I need to find storage. There's a different demand right over there. But again, it doesn't change. I think as a challenge / opportunity is the navigation.
Did you see that? Do you see how she turned it positive? That's a hotelier.
Thank you.
I saw that.
Yeah, thank you.
So but you're also, you've been with this brand for 20 years, Monika, 20 years. Remember, I told you, you are an anomaly. It's unheard of for all of the new generations. So what is it that you plan to bring here, maybe that you would like to make more like the Kempinski that many people are familiar with?
Absolutely, and that's a real life question, Elizabeth. We are focusing, and we have put on our focus in the next 6 months quality, and that means quality means also to bring the Kempinski brand more in, to make Kempinski more visible, right here at Kempinski, the One Suites Hotel. And we have actually, when we look at our name, we have changed our English name and put Kempinski first. We wanted to draw attention to our presence as well here on this side of the river. But also through training, you know, through the sense of quality. Today afternoon, when chef was setting up the coffee break outside, we have actually rosemary, and we have mint, and we have oregano, and it's real. And so I said, okay, come on, let's smell it. Let's see the quality, the sense for quality. And I think that is what we will focus on, and that will subsequently bring in Kempinski, Kempinski's brand promise.
How would you define the Kempinski brand promise for residents? What would you want them to say about living here? And we can ask them later, because but what is it that your goal, your mission as a general manager of this property, how do you want them to feel about living here, but also about the Kempinski brand?
I think individuality and personalization are for me ultimate luxury. So I want my residents, or our residents, to feel exactly that. And especially if they live so long here, it's their home. It's not coming and going and checking in and checking out. And so I think that's for me, this being private and the individual approach, personalized service, especially for our tenants, but also for the short terms, of course, in a different way.
Many of you may not know, but Monika, of all the luxury hotels that are here in Shanghai, Monika is one of 3 female general managers.
Wow.
So we're very honored to be able to, one, have you here with us as a recently joined general manager.
Thank you.
But also, I think it's really important for us to know what have been the ways that you have grown in your career. What are the lessons that you have learned to get you to this point?
Wow, I mean, 3, that's an impressive number here that you said in Shanghai. I mean, I know certainly worldwide there are more, but we're still in a low number as female leaders in this industry.
And especially in luxury hotels.
Yes, exactly.
And what is it that you've been able to go through and grow in to be able to be here at this
As I think, you know, I mean, I think we all have our ups and downs and our challenges in our career, if it's male or female, that's what I think. However, I would encourage every female leader or somebody who is acquiring a career in our industry, speak up. Say what you need, say what you want. If you're not being heard the first time, be persistent. There comes the moment when you are being heard. And be confident, just go for it. Just go for it, because you can do it. I mean, this is, I think, one of the biggest lessons, and I want to refer very quickly to an experience I had. I was EAM in charge of rooms of a very big palace hotel in Qatar a couple of years ago, and I just finished my 2 years over there at the Masa Malas Kempinski. And we had our COO on a visit, and I was sitting with him, and he asked me, "So, Monika, what do you want to do next?" And I started again that sentence with saying, "Generally, I am flexible." And he just looked at me and he said, "Monika, where do you want to go next? What do you want to do next?" Yes. And actually I said to him, yes, I mean, I would like to be a hotel manager as a next position, and there's only 2 hotels in Kempinski that are of interest to me. And that is the Hotel Adlon in Berlin and the Hotel 4 Jahreszeiten in Munich, my hometown. And once I had said that, there was just like, okay, I don't know what will be the reaction, but you know what, it was so empowering, it was so encouraging. And I ended up getting actually the opportunity of going to Munich, to one of a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Grand Hotel in the center of Munich, and being the hotel manager over there. But if I wouldn't have said that,
Because you were generally flexible.
I was generally flexible.
You were generally flexible. You're
Generally, I'm flexible. Then who knows where I would have gone? And I know I would have loved it also because I have not always worked in A destinations. I've worked all over the place, also in adventurous destinations, difficult destinations to operate. When I think back about my time in Africa. Or even, let's look at Yinchuan, you know, I mean, Yinchuan, if you haven't visited, you should really go. Now it's getting very cold there, but also there, the first internationally branded 5-star luxury hotel in the city. So how do you bring that across?
Yes.
So I would say one, if not the biggest lesson, please speak up and say what you need, and don't be shy.
So you're here now. You're the general
Yes.
manager. We have many general managers in this room today. What do we need to be doing, Monika, in your opinion? What are you going to do now that you've made it as general manager to pave the way for the next generation of female leaders?
Well, I think it's important to keep on networking and also put your, be there. I see that, for example, I mean, I'm also a mentor and coach, a certified mentor and coach by Kempinski. And I can see, I mean, I get a lot of requests, not only from within the company, but also from the outside. And I think it's sharing knowledge, sharing experiences. And I had already quite some very, very interesting conversations just before we came in. And I'm sure, and I hope we will have more of people who are really interested and people who really want to know how it is. So I think number one, we should share our knowledge, share our experience, and encourage people to join our beautiful industry.
So let's share a little bit. We're going to have Q&A here at the moment, and Johnny is here with the microphone. Please feel free to ask your questions in English or Chinese. He will help us to translate. But please, we welcome the questions for Monika.
Chengdu Temple House. When checking, I found they have a half hotel and half resident. They have a different type for target market. So what do you think about the future about the resident? Because a lot kind of resident hotel people, family will choose. And for some businessmen, they will choose some regular luxury hotel. So what do you think about the future about this industry?
That's a very good question.
Thank
you
you
very much. So talking about target markets, and talking about target markets in times of change. And you have said very, very right? For the long-term business, we might have a little different audience than for the short-term business. But I can say from my experience of where we went this year, and this is very different than where the one was in 2018 or 2019, it is really, the foreign experts are not anymore as strong of a target group as they were last year or the year before. They might come back, but they might still take some time in our assumption. But we observe also that there is a lot of personal lease. That means, and that's the interesting part, that's really a great business for us for the moment, local guests who are renovating their own apartments, and then they stay with us for the time of their apartment is renovated. So we can also see a shift in the length of stay for long-term guests, and that's between 1 and 3 months only. That means more work for us, and we need to acquire more business in order to maintain our stable base business, you know, that you want to have in a hybrid business model. And then, in order then to fill up with your short stay guests with higher rates. So that's the long term. I think we are moving, and we move to domestic business. That's nothing new. I mean, you all know that this year it's all about domestic, and we can see that. So I don't know. Maybe we should. Yeah, those renovation guests, it's really interesting. They come here, they stay here, and then they move back out. Or foreign experts who are joining us and who settle in China, come the first time to China and stay with us for a month or two until they move. If they have families, they usually prefer also to live eventually a little bit more outside or in houses in a bigger house. So I think you need to keep the finger on the pulse. Absolutely, you need to see it. It's changing. And it's not only changing in the long stay, but we can see that Gen Z is so strong, and it's so beautiful to see. And actually, it's not only coming in the long term, but also in the short term. So we have a lot of Gen Z guests as well. And of course, you need then to change. What are you doing for them, right? Do they need all the services? Do they want all the services? Do we get more digital, right? And so on and so forth. And that's how then you build up your strategy for the future. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, Monika.
Good afternoon.
And my name is Linda. I'm working in the Port Mary's Carlton, and I'm the assistant manager of the bar and lounge. So I'm also the founder of my it's called Go-To Bar, which is a professional cocktail platform during my pregnancy. So that's why I am a working mother. So I would like to ask you, what's your opinion of the working mothers in hospitality industry?
Linda, let me first say congratulations.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let's give it a clap.
An entrepreneur during maternity leave.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I mean, wow, respect.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's number one. And I think, well, being a mother is certainly already a full-time job. And then having your business. So I think for you, it must be juggling every day. What I would suggest or advise is really strict time management and structure your days through. Otherwise, you will go down, is my thinking. But overall, I think it is a double and triple job for you, and it's not easy, but I believe it's not impossible, Linda. It's not impossible, and we can see this on you. So keep the flag up high for all those working mothers out there. Exactly, big smile, big strong smile, and thank you so much for being here this afternoon. As I say, organize your day through, but I'm sure it's not easy.
This is coming from the
not.
German. Please be organized.
That's my
everything structured.
that's might be, yeah, might be. No, but for me, it's like the A and O, as we say in German, A and O, to go through it, Linda. Yeah.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön, sprechen Sie Deutsch. Dankeschön, Linda. Alles Gute, all the very best, ja?
Ja, ein bisschen, aber alles vergessen.
Alles vergessen. Ich glaube, Sie sprechen schon noch sehr gut Deutsch. Wow.
Danke.
Linda, I hope to catch up with you later as well. Yeah?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Maria, and I'm a marketing manager with Rumors.
Hello, Maria. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I've got a question. In your opinion, what should be done in terms of hotel operations, not just to survive during the pandemic situation, but to thrive?
Thank you so much for the question. I mean, we can see this year we had to change. You know, if a restaurant is closed, you need to change. You need to change your operation. You need to see what does my customer really want and need. You know, so we started to do takeaway. We started to deliver to the rooms. We started to give special discounts of in-room dining. And you know what? I think this year, and not only in food and beverage, but also in rooms, for me it's all about volume, because cash is king, and this is what we need to generate right now. And that will subsequently lead to the fact that you will strive and that you will bring back your business to where it was and be even better. So your strategy must be very clear. We went for volume, and I have to say it worked. Last month we were back on 2019 revenue level. Makes me very proud to say.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You said something very important. Cash is king.
Yeah.
And maybe you may not have a resident to book your room for months at a time, but you need to open other channels to be able to just generate revenue. You have to keep your teams employed and business moving.
That's right, absolutely. And that's why we started really to see co-branding events. With which partners can you partner up? And let's partner up with brands that actually fit to Kempinski.
Yes.
Let's do events when we can do them, you know? Like next week we have 80 to 100 people networking event right here where we are. And we're going to change it because we are flexible. Yes. And we cater to the needs of our customers and of our partners. And I think that's the most important. And so that's also the beauty of it. We can make swift and fast decisions. If it's a win-win, let's do it.
Yeah, this is Jeff. I'm very
Jeff.
glad to be here, Monika.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see
After
you.
so
Jeff, tell us
many
the story.
years.
Tell us the story. Tell us
tell the
story.
This is
story.
amazing.
Yes,
Yeah,
tell us the
wow.
story.
Where we meet.
Well, probably later. Well, I
Yeah.
also learned Monika in Beijing, so I'm always
That's right.
very wondering. So you traveled so many places, yeah. As Elizabeth said, yeah. So you have been already in 5 countries. So in China, have been in already many places, even in Yinchuan, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I traveled also a lot, but, you know, certainly in different business. And it would be great if you could share some insights, yeah, how you know, get along, so with the people, with the culture, with the life in different environment, yeah? I mean, environment, also in working environment. And yeah, I think, so, yeah, according to my experiences, China, Munich, Geneva,
Yes.
and, well, even China, Yinchuan, Shanghai, Beijing, is very different.
And by the
So-
way, Jeff is one of her first guests of China, but he's
Yes.
only here visiting for CIIE. And
Exactly.
he came here specifically because Monika was having this event today. I
Right.
mean, talk
Thank
about
you.
a relationship with the guest, a lasting impression, and that speaks to testament about you and your service.
Thank you. Jeff, it's wonderful to see you again after all those years. We met in
you.
Beijing and we met in Munich with your wonderful family, and you're
Yeah.
based in Munich in my hometown.
Right.
So it's amazing. And when we posted this event on LinkedIn, Jeff was immediately texting me, I'm in Shanghai. I said, well, okay, fine, I'm coming. I say, okay, great, please, welcome. So this is amazing. Thank you very much for making time in your busy schedule on that Saturday and spending it with us. Jeff, thank you so much for that question. And I think looking back, and 20 years was really a milestone for me. Especially, and I just want to throw that in because this year is so special. 1st of February, I was flying out of Geneva, and 1st of February 2000 was my first working day with Kempinski. So that was exactly 20 years later when I stepped into the plane to start my first general manager assignment. I don't know, the universe wanted it like that, but I was in good spirits. Jeff, yes, moving. 5 years Middle East, 2 years Africa, 4 years China, Southeast Asia, 1.5 years back in Germany and working in Germany. Also different again, right? With Germans, even though I'm German, but it's a different approach, right?
No comment. We have
No
Germans in the
comments,
room.
exactly. And then, of course, in Switzerland, and we are working with so many different international colleagues together and business partners, and then coming back to China, and Shanghai is different, right? And everything is different. So how do I cope with this? For me, I have this 3 months and 6 months way of scheduling myself. I usually take 3 months until I settle in, until I get used to the country, the weather, the food, the people. It takes me 3 months. And the older I get, I have a feeling it takes me longer. But okay, 3 months, and then I feel really myself. I feel back with myself. I feel comfortable. I understand how it goes. But of course, in those 3 months, they are not the hardest, but also the most interesting ones, because you're opening up and you are learning every day, and it's an intense time. So in any country that I go, it's the first thing is I want to understand. I want to eat the food. I want to be with locals. I want to be with the people. I don't want to be with the expats. Sorry. I want to be with the locals. I want to understand why are you doing this. I want to understand how, you know, also about religions, traditions, foods. In Africa, you know, family is very important, and not only in Africa, also in China, wherever, in a lot of places. But it was important for me to understand also education level. What's the education like, you know? What do we have here? So I spent a lot of time on the floor talking to people, especially to my team members and also to industry colleagues. First 3 months is really getting in, little sleep and getting full in. And then you can start to see what are your options, what do you do, business, you know, in business. private is always, it is the other side of the medal, you know. I think you have to create in private your own oasis on how you can get your power back, your regenerating oasis, yeah? And you can find this anywhere. If somebody says, oh, in Yinchuan there's not much to do, I can tell you there's a lot. Just open your eyes and find your own style. And you need to find that. So I find my oasis now, yeah, sure, in Shanghai I have here and there, and I know what's good for me, and I know where I can get my strength, my power, my energy back in order to come back, connect, and lead. I think, Jeff, just to answer, it is an agile process. It is an active process. It is a process that you have to open yourself up and get fast in it, because you have no time. Huh? I mean, get fast in it. So there is a lot you have to deal with. Yes. So I have this 3 months, and then 6 months, and then 9 months. And after 1 year,
it's your circadian cycle.
My cycle.
That's
Jeff, I
cycle.
hope that answers your question. But thank you so much. Appreciate it, and good to see you. So good to see you. Thank you.
Rainer.
A very simple question, and you hinted to it earlier. So what is the next move for you?
Rainer, it's also wonderful to have you here. Of course, it's great. Thank you for the question. And you know what? I'm somehow at a crossroads here. Well, I'm here now since 9 months. I signed for at least 2 years. I hope I can stay longer. You know, I mean, it's not so bad here in Shanghai. It's not so bad here at the one, and we have a lot to do. And there is a plan. There's a plan. So, but after this, what do I want to do? Like, I don't know yet. I have to be very honest, Rainer. I don't know.
You are
yet.
not generally flexible.
I am not generally flexible anymore, because if you hire me, there's definitely going to be an impact, and also So I think at this point in time, hospitality is so in my DNA. You know, after 20 years. But also, I have to say that I've been studying and graduating from Equalel last year on asset management and investment into the real estate investment into lodging industry. I find the whole real estate market very, very interesting, and that could be a second thing. But I also love residences. I mean, I still love hotels, right? I mean, everywhere I go, hotel is, I need to go in, I need to drink something, I need to eat something, I need to it's there, you know. But residence, I think, is very interesting in terms of profitability, but also the service levels that we can do. And I think that we can do a much better job in terms of writing proper SOPs for residence service and really creating a residence brand, like other groups have, right? But I think, I mean, that could be of interest to me. Don't ask me where. I don't know. I don't know. But I look forward to it. But for now, I'm here. Thank you, Rainer, for the question.
We have time for one more, 2 more.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is George. I'm the Dean of Hospitality School in Shaoxing, USU Institute of Hospitality, partner of Inspire Hospitality. So thank you, Elizabeth. I have a question, Monika, about the students, at least the young generation. So you mentioned about Generation Z, you mentioned about flexibility, and we pretty soon the Generation Alpha is on the way, right? So
What's Alpha?
Alpha is the ones which are about 6, 7 years old now.
Oh my gosh.
So, and we always approach them like they're not interested, they like their mobile phones, there's no motivation, etc. And I'm living with them every day. Our students who entered this year was born in 2001. So it's like yesterday.
Wow.
So my question is, although we're trying all our efforts in the university and we have a great program, I don't want to promote the school, but however, I wanted to know how Kempinski, a brand like Kempinski, plans to tackle this upcoming generation, like in 20 years' time, because we observe that things are not working actually the traditional way. I mean, the generation is not compatible to the traditional operation. So I was wondering, is Kempinski having a view on this? Is there a plan? Is there how to accommodate this generation in a couple of years? So that's my question.
Thank you so much. What a question. This is amazing and a very relevant question, I think. Attracting talent generally is already a challenge, I would say, generally. And now, apart from looking at Generation Z or Generation Alpha and so on. Alpha. I think that's number one for our industry, because it's not anymore so easy. You know, it's not so easy to find that people with the passion and then everything else, and working all those overtimes and working also on the weekends and so on. So we have to find a way on making our industry attractive, as you said, especially for those generations. Now, to my knowledge, Kempinski has not yet launched a plan on this, but I think we definitely should, and we have to look into the future. Otherwise, you can acquire hotels and sign deals and deals, but if you don't have the people to operate them, then it's also for nothing. So I have not seen yet a plan, but we must look into this. Generally, as for me, what I do now in this moment is simply I show the opportunities that somebody can have. But also, I value very much the work-life balance, right? And I mean, it's not anymore those things that you have to work 2 weeks through and work 12, 14 to 16 hours just to get a praise. These times are hopefully over. At least for me, they are over when I'm in charge. I want people to take their day off. I want people to take time to rejuvenate, to take time to read, take time to develop yourself and come back fresh. And as for now, just to show this and to remove this somewhat dark cloud that we have over the industry because of that, helped me to create or to attract a talent. But sure, for the future, and especially the digitalization, that's big. And that's even more advanced in China than, I think, to my knowledge, anywhere else in the world right now. And to see how do we do that, because our business, let's not forget, is about people. Talk to each other, sit down, have a meal together, have a coffee together. And I think this will still exist, but we need to really, really look after exactly this. So thank you for highlighting. I think it's a very, very important point. And we have to get ready.
We have time.
True.
We have time for
Just maybe to conclude on the question, the reason I'm asking this one is we know that there are other colleagues from university here. Going into hospitality shows a drop over the years, although students get a degree in this, and this usually happens in the first year after they graduate, or it happens after they return from the internship. So we have observed that there is really something has to be done in there to keep them. Putting it simple would be like why they would prefer another industry but not hospitality. So to see this gap and try to close it. And when we talk to our students, they say it's more fun. There's more excitement in the other industries rather than hospitality industry. Really? So that's why I was wondering if there is something in plan. Thank you very much.
You know, I just want to say something about that. Let's look at this. When you graduate, which position do you take usually? Do you start, or do you directly enter as a manager? Do you directly enter as an assistant manager? I have come across wonderful young graduates, very smart people. Wonderful. And I love to develop people. I love that. That's such a joy for me. But then I want to be an assistant manager right away, but I have never led people. So I said, well, wait, how big was you never led people, so why don't you start in a supervisor role, and we're going to make sure you have a development plan in place, and after 6 months we talk again, and after 12 months we talk again, and then we look at your results. If you tell me that people are dropping out after their internships, what kind of internships did they have? Did they have a plan? Did they have a mentor to follow them? I see your smile. And I think that is where we need to go back and see, when you work with hotel groups together, make sure people are being taken care of after. And I think it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of energy. But I can tell you, if one will stay more, then that's already better than nothing. And I think they should, it's also bad for the students and for the graduates, because they have studied something that they believed that this would be some great kind of career path. And then they realized in the real world it's not. So let's look how close are we to the real world during the studies. in my point of view. And how does it feel to stand on the reception on the hard marble floor for 16 hours? And how does it feel when your arms are bleeding, when you take out the towels from the laundry machine? Get my point? Theoretical knowledge is important, but I think in order to make really them ready for the industry, they need to really see the full picture from the beginning on, in order then to take a conscious decision of what they want to do. Otherwise, we continue to have dropouts, and I think that's the absolute negative that we wanted to achieve with this. Just wanted to, very, very good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Monika.
much.
Great to
Thank
hear
you.
from you.
Thank you likewise.
And I'm sorry that we're out of time, but Monika, this is certain. We're here all afternoon. You've arranged a beautiful hotel
Yes.
tour and
Yes.
reception here in this room after today, this evening. And I want to thank you so much for the inspiration that you've given to all of us here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.